Joshua's eyes would forever be haunted by the memories of his time in the Cross River University of Technology. It was 2010, and he had just gained admission into the institution, full of promise and dreams. But little did he know that his life was about to take a drastic turn. On the night of their matriculation, Joshua's friends had invited him to a party, and he had reluctantly agreed to join them. As they danced the night away, the sound of chants and shattering glass filled the air. A group of men, armed to the teeth, stormed the party, and Joshua's life was forever changed. He was forcefully initiated into the Klansmen cult group, and his world was turned upside down. Joshua found himself trapped in a web of violence and fear, forced to participate in activities that went against his very being. As he delved deeper into the cult, Joshua's behavior became increasingly erratic. He started smoking and doing drugs, always looking over his shoulder, fearing for his life. His academic performance began to suffer, and he found himself skipping classes, unable to focus on his studies. One fateful day, Joshua received a call from his fellow Klansman, Mike, informing him that their plantation was under attack. Joshua's heart sank, and he knew he had to flee. He boarded a taxi and made his way to his aunt's place in 8 Miles, where he laid low for the weekend. But the violence was far from over. Joshua received another call from Mike, informing him that one of their members had been killed by the rival Black Axe cult group. Joshua knew he had to leave Calabar for good, fearing for his life. The war between the Klansmen and the Black Axe had been raging for months, with both sides suffering heavy losses. Joshua, a promising engineering student, had been reluctantly drawn into the conflict, forced to participate in the violence and intimidation that had become a hallmark of cult life. Despite the peace talks that had temporarily calmed the tensions, Joshua knew that the conflict was far from over. The Black Axe had killed 3 Klansmen, and the Klansmen had retaliated by killing 1 Black Axe member. The cycle of violence seemed endless, and Joshua was trapped in the middle of it. The Klansmen had hatched a plan to take out Akpo, the ruthless and feared Black Axe leader. They had set him up twice before, but he had managed to evade them. This time, they were determined to succeed. Joshua and 4 other Klansmen had been chosen for the hit. They had tracked Akpo to a remote restaurant on the outskirts of the university, where he had agreed to meet his friend Bassi, unaware that Bassi was a spy used by Klansmen to set him up. As they watched Akpo enter the restaurant, Joshua's heart racing with anticipation and fear. The signal was given, and the Klansmen stormed the restaurant, shouting their signature chant, "Ovaces." Akpo, realizing he was surrounded, tried to make a run for it, but it was too late. The Klansmen's number 2 man pulled out a pistol with a red cowrie tied to the mouth, a fetish charm that was said to make the bullet unstoppable. Akpo was shot in the head, and his lifeless body slumped to the floor. The Klansmen escaped through a bush path, leaving behind a trail of blood and chaos. Joshua was shaken to the core, unable to process the brutality of what he had just witnessed. He knew that he had crossed a line, one that he could never go back from. In the aftermath of the killing, Joshua's friend Mike had been killed in a retaliatory attack by the Black Axe. Joshua was consumed by grief and guilt, knowing that he had played a role in the cycle of violence that had claimed his friend's life. Joshua fled to Akpo Ibom, where he lay low for a month, trying to come to terms with what he had done. He knew that he could never go back to Calabar, that he would always be looking over his shoulder, waiting for the other shoe to drop. The memories of that fateful day continued to haunt Joshua, a constant reminder of the devastating consequences of cultism and violence. He knew that he would never be able to erase the images of blood and death from his mind, that they would forever be etched in his memory like a scar.